This is one of the most secure and important facilities in the world. It's a central place where all the data from hundreds of thousands of sensors, radars, and satellites come together. This data can tell you everything you need to know about any aircraft in the air, any missile launch, or any object in space. Ironically, it's a place where brave people hide inside a cave and analyze the data before sending information upstream to decision makers, such as the President of the United States. And yet, this is a place where you still have to pay for snacks and drinks. This is the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, a place capable of withstanding a hit by a nuclear bomb from the 1960s. This underground bunker served as the headquarters of NORAD for 40 years, but it was eventually shut down in 2006 as a cost-cutting measure. You see, the basement of this nearby building offered as much protection against a modern nuclear attack as being 2,000 feet under the mountain. But after 5 years of being mostly abandoned, the underground bunker was renovated and resumed its day-to-day operations in 2011. This installation is currently known as the Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station. Yes, a Space Force station. And if you're wondering, what do they really do inside the mountain? Let me tell you, it's not what you think. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex was designed to withstand a 30-megaton nuclear bomb detonated 1.2 miles away from it. You see, back in the 1960s, no one expected the Soviets to score a direct hit onto the mountain, because the missile technology of the time was quite inaccurate. Nevertheless, the main 4,700 feet long tunnel was designed to redirect a nuclear blast perpendicular to the giant blast doors. During the Cold War, the two 25-ton doors had to be cycled, meaning that one of the doors always remained closed. But today, both doors remain open as the perceived risks have subsided. Sometimes there is even a tunnel run event. Despite their massive weight, these doors can be operated by a single human, and it takes about 45 seconds for each door to close shut. These doors are perfectly balanced, to the point that they even bounce. This underground city hosts two 2-story and 13 3-story buildings. These buildings don't have any windows, but there's a medical center, dentist office, cafeteria, chapel, convenience store, and even a 24/7 gym. To fit the city inside the mountain, over 693,000 tons of granite was excavated out of the mountain. And in case you wonder where it all went, some of it ended up beneath this parking lot. These 15 buildings sit on top of 1,300 metal springs, with each spring weighing half a ton. The springs allow the buildings to move up an inch in the event of an earthquake or a nuclear explosion. The suspension system would help protect sensitive computer equipment. Speaking of computers, an unexpected problem occurred in one of the buildings when old, massive computers were removed and replaced. The computers were quite heavy, to the extent that after their removal, the building got so light that the springs pushed it out of position toward the top of the cavern. As a result, their springs had to be retensioned to fix this. Thankfully, in today's day and age, men can maintain their avocados even if they're as big and heavy as the computers in the 1960s, thanks to Manscaped, the sponsor of your crown jewels. I'm quite excited for this new performance package, which features the all-new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra that comes with two interchangeable heads. One is a trimmer that's tough on hair, yet incredibly gentle on the skin. And the other is a brand new foil blade, which is perfect if you want to get that extra irresistible smooth skin. Your lawnmower now has a dual temperature LED light to better illuminate different skin tones. And of course is waterproof, so you can use it in the shower. And it gives you up to 60 minutes to groom the land down under. There's also a travel lock to make sure that your luggage doesn't come out buzzing. Performance Package 5.0 Ultra also comes with the trusty Weed Whacker 2.0 to trim your ear and nose hair, plus the Crop Soother and Crop Preserver to keep you feeling cool and comfortable from morning to night. On top of all that, you get two free gifts, a pair of super comfy and breathable Boxers 2.0, and the new shit to keep your grooming toolbox organized. Let your family jewels join the 18 million balls that already trust Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off, plus free international shipping when you use promo code THINK20 at checkout. Your balls will thank you, and so will we. "Without power, it's just a cave," is an actual sign within the mountain. Normally, the mountain receives its power from a local utility company. But in case of, you know what, there is a huge battery bank, which is essentially the largest uninterrupted power supply in the United States. And in case that's not enough, there are 6 generators that produce over 10 megawatts of power. But where do they keep the fuel for these generators? There's a massive reservoir carved into the rock, which holds 500,000 gallons of diesel fuel. Interestingly, all the activity within the mountain generates so much heat that 40% of all the power is used on air conditioning. In addition, there is a 4.5 million gallon reservoir of water that is used as a heat sink, and an additional reservoir of 1.5 million gallons of drinking water. There's also a natural spring, which was discovered during construction and provides more water that is consumed. But why did they build this complex inside the mountain in the first place? Cheyenne Mountain Complex was constructed to act as the headquarters for North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. The complex was designed to survive the nuclear blasts of a typical ICBM technology of the time in order to command retaliatory action. It cost $150 million to build, which equates to $1.5 billion in 2023. The construction began in 1961 and was finished by 1966, although NORAD began operating from within the mountain a year earlier. Speaking of NORAD, it was set up in 1958 by a joint American and Canadian command to monitor the skies for enemy aircraft, missiles, and space objects, and of course, to track Santa. If the Soviets launched an attack, NORAD would know within seconds with the help of 450 legacy sensors from a global early warning network. Fighter jets and surface-to-air missiles would be immediately dispatched. Within the first week of operations, NORAD traced over 100,000 objects in the sky, with the majority, of course, being scheduled commercial flights. But 10 were unidentified, and as a result, fighter jets were scrambled to identify those 10 aircraft, which ended up being friendly. By the way, this is a light gun. Before the invention of touchscreens, this officer used this gun to activate remote computer systems. While no attack ever happened, NORAD would often detect Soviet T-95 bombers, known as Bears, in the North American Air Defense Zone. NORAD would dispatch fighter jets and escort them out. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the practice of bombers probing North American defenses stopped. But a few years back, Vladimir Putin decided to resume the practice. A few dozen times a year, NORAD detects Russian bomber aircraft and dispatches fighters to tell Ivan to f*** off. And that's as much action as NORAD gets. In fact, NORAD's first ever kill since its inception happened on February 4, 2023, when a Chinese balloon was shot down by NORAD's dispatched F-22. But there is a big problem with the Cheyenne Mountain complex, an unfixable problem. Even during the Cold War, it was already understood that the underground bunker would not be able to survive a nuclear blast due to advances in nuclear weapons and missile accuracy. In fact, back then, as it is now, the mountain could be easily eaten away by repeated volleys of nuclear strikes. As a result, NORAD was moved out of the mountain in 2006 and relocated to the basement of an office building in the nearby Peterson Air Force Base. This was a cost-cutting move, since it was too expensive to run the mountain complex while it didn't provide any real strategic value. The mountain stopped operating in 24/7 mode and was essentially put into a warm shutdown, with only a skeleton crew remaining. However, NORAD's alternate command center remained inside the mountain from 2008 onward. But the warm shutdown didn't last long, because other agencies started to move in. You see, the real reason the Cheyenne complex is still operational today is for the worst-case scenario event in American history. is to provide various U.S. government agencies a secure space to work in the event of various things hitting the fan scenarios ranging from natural disasters, civil unrest, cyber attacks, biological and chemical attacks, and limited and general nuclear attacks. The facility is currently run by Space Base Delta 1 with the official name of Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station. For all of you wondering, from our research, we have found no evidence of Stargate inside the complex, but the Department of Defense does provide a video of a Sith Crusader inside the mountain. Depending on the threat, NORAD's watch can be moved back inside the mountain. The last time NORAD returned to the mountain full-time was during the COVID pandemic. Today, NORAD uses less than 30% of the floor space within the Cheyenne Mountain complex and accounts for approximately 5% of the daily population of the underground bunker. Despite NORAD's limited presence, all of the mountain's facilities are currently 100% occupied. About 400 people work here during the week and about 100 to 150 during nighttime and weekends. Currently, the mountain provides EMP protection to various government agencies who occupy the complex, such as the U.S. Strategic Command, Space Force Command, Defense Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, Missile Defense Agency, and others. An EMP attack can damage most electronics, and Cheyenne Mountain is the only Department of Defense high-altitude EMP-certified underground facility. There are of course other undisclosed things that go on inside Cheyenne Mountain, and they are obviously classified. What you see on the screen is the B-roll that the Department of Defense provides for public viewing, with simulated screensavers, fake maps, fake aircraft, and fake charts, so we can't actually see what they're doing. Publicly, it's said that they engage in defensive cyber operations, and that people inside Cheyenne Mountain ingest huge amounts of information, classify it as good, neutral, or bad, and decide what to send up the chain of command. If something bad is detected, they would close the giant doors. But in reality, very little is known about what actually happens inside the mountain. All this said, the Cheyenne Mountain complex is not the only one of its kind. In fact, it's not even the first one. An underground complex in North Bay, Ontario, Canada, nicknamed The Hole, opened on October 1, 1963, 3 years prior to the opening of Cheyenne Mountain Complex. The Hole is the most extraordinary military installation in Canada, and it was built due to Canada's unlucky geography. Located between the United States and the Soviet Union, if the Cold War ever turned hot, it meant that Soviet bombers would fly over Canada to reach the US, while Americans would fly their fighter jets over Canada to intercept the Soviets, turning Canada into a nuclear battleground. People at watch basically sat there and waited for World War III to begin. Located 680 feet underground, the hole was designed to withstand a direct hit of a 4-megaton nuclear bomb, which is 267 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The complex is accessible via a 1.25 mile long north tunnel from CFB North Bay and a half a mile long south tunnel from the city. The complex can support 400 people for about 4 weeks. This complex made the city of North Bay, Ontario, a potential target in the event of a nuclear attack, just like Cheyenne Mountain did for Colorado Springs. 2 giant computers, Bonnie and Clyde, took 11,900 square feet of space. Their job was to identify everything that flew in the northern NORAD region. If it wasn't identified in 2 minutes, fully armed fighter aircraft were dispatched within 5 minutes. As those equipment became antiquated and nuclear weapons became more powerful, Canada decided to move the Hole's operation into an above-the-ground building, just like the Americans did. As a result, in October 2006, after 43 years of 24/7 operation, the Hole was emptied and put in warm shutdown, while the operations moved into a much cheaper-to-maintain above-the-ground building. It's worth noting that the American and Canadian governments did think about building super combat centers and deep underground command centers which would be able to withstand multiple 300 megaton nuclear weapon hits, as they would be located over 4,000 feet underground. But they were never built, as far as we know.